Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE News and Rumors. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Hodge. This episode is brought to you by SeatGeek, so if you guys are looking for tickets for any event in the entire world, use SeatGeek, use code Hodge, and save yourselves $20 friggin' dollars. For first-time orders only, so if you used it before, make a new account, and you can still use the discount code. We're going to kick off this episode with the first news story. So the first news story is going to be about Ali. I'm actually wearing the guy's shirt. So if you don't know the whole situation with Ali and everything, basically he's been very open about this entire thing on Twitter, which I was entirely sure how he's able to do, because usually a lot of the behind-the-scenes things you don't know, and you think the wrestlers aren't allowed to talk about it or something. But Ollie's been very open, being like, today I am requesting my release from the WWE. I don't know if they're going to go for it or not. We will see. And then it's, he's coming to everyone updating. They're not accepting the request to be released from his contract. And Ollie has basically said now, and this is the new story here, Ollie has said, it's going to be about 2.5 years. They're going to keep me prisoner for about 2.5 years. Apparently, the rumors are he got in some kind of argument with Vince McMahon himself about some kind of creative direction or decision or everything. Something got very heated in the argument or whatever, and then that kind of resulted in Ollie not really being used on TV that much, not really being given a good spot or whatever. And Ollie's saying, no, I will not be in the Royal Rumble match. No, I will not do this. No, I will not do that. And his request is released. They said no, and he's got over 2 years left on his contract. And they're pretty much just holding him prisoner. He cannot wrestle for any other wrestling company on the entire planet besides WWE. And WWE aren't going to use him because of some stupid argument. And they're just going to hold him prisoner for 2 years because they can legally do that. So that really, really sucks. Hopefully things get resolved somehow here. I don't know, but we'll just wait and see. But it's an update about the whole Ali request to be released situation. All right, the next news story is about WWE legend, former WWE wrestler, current AEW wrestler, Mr. Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho. So basically, Chris Jericho's on Twitter a little bit. He's teasing a little bit. He's teasing with Kevin Owens, actually, WWE wrestler, saying, "Hey, Kevin, I didn't forget what you did to me. I didn't forget what you did to me. So watch your back, because you never know when I'll be back and when we'll meet again or something." So that's what basically Jericho had to say. Now, I'm not saying that Jericho's leaving All Elite Wrestling. Of course, today the big news with All Elite Wrestling is they released Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is no longer an AEW wrestler. He's no longer part of the AEW roster. He's been released, and he's free to go to any wrestling company in the entire world. Maybe we'll talk about that in the rumor section. But basically, Jericho, you don't know what's going on anytime with these contracts. AEW has been releasing a lot of people. I don't want to say releasing like WWE kind of releasing. They've just been not renewing contracts that they've had. So Jericho, it's also his choice. He has the right to not want to renew the contract as well. So you never know if Jericho come back to the WWE at some point. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But Jericho's telling Owens, watch your back, because I may be back one day soon. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that's actually the only confirmed news stories that I talked to you guys about today. Go and get your juice boxes out, get your juice box ready, because ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to talk about some juicy rumors. The first rumor of the day is going to be, I guess, about Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn feud. So where the hell is this going? We really thought Rumble was kind of the payoff. It was just kind of like an advertisement kind of collab for the Rumble, for the new Jackass movie. So where's this going now that Rumble's over and they're still going with it? Well, apparently it's happening for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. We're having Sami Zayn defending against Johnny Knoxville. This is a legitimate thing. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 38 is the current plan to go down. WrestleMania, Johnny Knoxville will have his first ever, I guess, singles match inside of the WWE. A one-on-one match where all the eyes are on him. So hopefully he's doing some kind of training or something. I'm sure they'll get him set really, really good. So it will come off excellent for WrestleMania, because the greatest stage of them all. But yeah, that is the current plan. Johnny Knoxville's having a one-on-one wrestling match at WrestleMania. Personally, I cannot wait. Johnny Knoxville's done everything on this planet, and this is another thing to add to his giant list. Alright, the next rumor is about Jeff Hardy. So this rumor is saying WWE, before they released Jeff Hardy out of his WWE contract, Jeff Hardy, the powers that be, had a little bit of a conversation regarding the Hall of Fame. They actually wanted to put Jeff Hardy induct him in the Hall of Fame, I guess this coming year for WrestleMania season or whatever. They wanted to induct Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's response to them asking, will you go into the Hall of Fame if we want to induct you or whatever, he said, are we talking me or are we talking the Hardy Boys? Because those are two different answers I'm going to give you. So if we're talking the Hardy Boys, Yes, and Matt Hardy will be there with me on stage inducting the Hardy Boys. I will not go in alone. I will go in alone after you induct the Hardy Boys, but I'm not going in alone right now. So that just says everything about Jeff Hardy and his respect for his brother and the tag team and the legacy they've built throughout the years as the Hardy Boys. So yeah, he's not going in the Hall of Fame without Matt by his side for the Hardy Boys. So there's that. That will happen in the future, I am sure. It's just not going to happen like within the reasonable next few years, because probably they're both going to be in AEW here pretty soon. So we'll just have to wait and see where it goes. But eventually, I'm sure they will end up in the WWE Hall of Fame as the Hardy Boys. Just not right now. All right, the next rumor is about Elias. Oh my God! So this one's crazy. So Elias has been missing for a little while due to the Elias is dead thing. Apparently Vince McMahon came up with a new gimmick for Elias. It was based off of Macho Man. It's kind of like a Macho Man-esque kind of gimmick. Then that kind of decided against that, and now Elias still isn't on TV. An update on Elias' return. I have no idea. I think they're working on a new gimmick now. They had him change his look massively. They cut his hair and cut his beard off, and now I think his beard's back or whatever. But basically, this Macho Man gimmick that they decided against. Apparently, they were so far forward with this. They actually had pictures done of him with this new gimmick. It actually had him inserted into the brand new WWE 2K22 video game as this new gimmick, even though the gimmick never saw the light of day. I'm not too sure if they actually got it removed from the game. This week, actually, one of the WWE 2K22 video game card photos has been leaked of Elias in this Macho Man gimmick, and it looks like this. It's on screen now. It's just, It's a bit different seeing Elias in trunks like that compared to the way we've seen him for a while. And personally, Elias, I was a very, very big fan of the guy, and I didn't think there was anything at all wrong with the gimmick. Keep it going. You can always add little, refreshes to it or whatever, but don't just throw it away and try to come up with something new. Don't fix something that's not broken. Just improve upon it, right? So yeah, Elias, I don't know what the hell they're doing with him. I really hope they find something, because the guy was really talented. He did really great in that music role he had, but hopefully they don't try to get him to something far-fetched and just kind of ruin him forever and have to release him, and then he has to reinvent himself for another wrestling company. And some of these wrestlers just really need creative control over their own stuff, because when you leave it to these Hollywood writers and people like that, they don't really come up with the best ideas for professional wrestling. They just don't. All right, the next rumor we're going to be talking about is going to be about Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes has been released from AEW, which leads into the rumors of Cody Rhodes returning to the WWE, of course. Now, I don't know if he's planning to return to WWE before WrestleMania, so he can do something at WrestleMania. I don't know. What I do know is that there's some sources inside the WWE that say it is more than likely, it's probably guaranteed, that Cody and WWE will reach a deal within the next week or two of something, and Cody Rhodes will be returning to WWE. And I don't know if he's going to be elevated to a whole nother level, since he's been in AEW and created a name for himself and this big star or whatever in the face of the company, or one of the faces of the company anyway. I don't know if they're just going to bring him back and put him in the mid-card, or maybe even bring Stardust back. I have no idea what they would do. Hopefully Cody's smart about this whole deal and realizes, and apparently the reason he didn't re-sign with the AEW is he's wanting one of those big, huge contract deals like he had, and AEW just didn't see it viable for him to have another one of those big star deals, so basically just left the company. So we will see where Cody ends up. WWE is going to be one of those big opportunities. If he does want one of those big, huge deals, WWE is kind of the only other wrestling company right now that can offer one of those deals besides AEW. There's the only other company that really has that capital, the billions of dollars built up. So if it's not AEW, it's pretty much going to have to be WWE. We're going to have to wait and see where this goes. I'm excited. I'm interested to see where it's going to go. And Cody, I really don't know. I don't see him coming back to WWE and being a main event guy by any means. He's going to be somewhere upper mid-card at most, and we'll just have to wait and see what they do with him. Hopefully they don't waste the opportunity with him this time around. Because the guy is talented, he does have potential, but at the same time, we'll just have to wait and see where it goes. Alright, so it's the final news story. This is the final rumor, this is the final thing we're talking about inside this episode of WWE News and Rumors. So, if you're ready, give me a hell yeah, because this is about Stone Cold Steve Austin. So Stone Cold Steve Austin is wrestling again at WrestleMania 38 in his home state of Texas. Don't you know? Give me a hell yeah. So, yeah, this is going to be great if this comes out to be true. So, if you guys, it's so far-fetched. It is ridiculously far-fetched. So Stone Cold has been retired for quite a long time. The guy is still fairly young in consideration to everyone we've seen return to wrestling in their older years. Stone Cold isn't really old at all. He's 58 or whatever. And you know, we still see Sting wrestling almost every week on AEW television. We see Goldberg wrestling quite often for the WWE. And Stone Cold seems to be in great, amazing shape. And actually, Stone Cold, the past, I guess, few weeks or whatever, he's actually had a wrestling ring installed into his ranch where he lives, and basically, he's training, I guess. He had the company who makes most of the wrestling rings for the indies and stuff, High Spots, actually come out and install a ring inside of his home. So that's a very interesting point. Maybe he just misses running the ropes. Maybe he's wanting to train some people. I don't know. But Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now the whole deal here is basically they're trying to make this WrestleMania as big as possible, because this is going to be the biggest WrestleMania in history. They're trying to break the attendance record they set at WrestleMania 32 with this WrestleMania in the AT&T Stadium. Basically, the match they have rumored right now to be happening, if Stone Cold, for some reason, agrees to this deal. Now, this is confirmed that WWE kind of confirmed through source. It's still a rumor, though, that they have reached out to Stone Cold since, like, January about possible being a part of WrestleMania, possibly getting physical, possibly having a match. And possibly wrestling Kevin Owens. So Stone Cold's first match back in years is against Kevin Owens. Now, no knock to Kevin Owens or anything. He's a wonderful performer. I just don't know if that's that blockbuster match. And I don't think Stone Cold's coming back for like a main event match or whatever, because that's not what we're going for. But hell, I mean, just do something big for the first match back. You need one of those guys. I mean, Kevin Owens is a great wrestler. He's a great guy. But he has not been billed as that blockbuster huge star that's on the Stone Cold level, if you get what I'm saying here. I mean, we need like if the Rock's gonna be wrestling, have Rock and Austin again for the love of God. Or if you're actually trying to elevate new stars, have Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle Roman Reigns or something. Like have something crazy. I mean, Kevin Owens hasn't been really used to that level like he could have been used. He could be to that level. It's just the way he's been booked. It just hasn't been that way. But very interesting. I get why they're doing it, because Kevin Owens is doing Stunner as well. So it'd be Stunner versus Stunner. It's interesting. I just don't know. I would like to see this match, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if that's right for Austin's first match back. But apparently this would be a one-off. This would be just Austin coming back for one last match thing. And I don't know if this is going to be like a full-on match, or if this is just going to be like a ring the bell, Stunner, 1, 2, 3 kind of match. I don't know what they would do. But right now, WWE is trying to get Stone Cold to agree to do something physical at WrestleMania and potentially have a match against Kevin Owens. So we'll just have to wait and see where it goes. Let me know your thoughts on this. Personally, I think if Austin's coming back, and we need to have him have a blockbuster opponent at WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all, the biggest WrestleMania in the history of the world. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know yours down below. But there you guys have it. That's going to do it for this episode of WWE News Rumors. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I am your king of vlogs, Mr. Brandon Edge, and I will see you guys in the next video.